Hello, and welcome to another episode of the DomJake podcast. My name is Dom.
And I am Jake. Now, what is it that we're going to be doing today?
Well, let's, keep our hands, arms, and legs, and vehicles in all time because we're gonna be taking quite some turns, and we're gonna be talking about roller coasters.
Alright. I guess I could be down to do that. What did you have
Now,
in mind?
before we talk about what we have done ourselves, I'm gonna ask this. Have you been on one before?
I've been on a few in my day. How about you?
I've definitely have. Definitely.
Nice.
Some of the really good ones. And do you know a few of them that you've been on?
Yeah, I do. I mean, off the top of my head, there have been quite a few at the good old Disney World that I've had a few experiences with. However, even though I've been on some before, I'm gonna have to start up by saying I'm not too big of a fan of roller coasters, to be real.
That's fair enough.
To be honest, the adrenaline is the thing that I kind of want to stay away from. That's just me. I don't like the fear sort of factor.
Yeah.
I get my rocks, I get my coasters off a different way, so to speak, right?
I will say there are definitely, safety precautions that these companies who, build these coasters, they do so many tests to make sure you don't get hurt.
Oh,
but
I don't distrust the scientists and the engineers who do it. It's just mainly, I don't like how I feel after it.
Oh, yeah. People get sick.
I have been on a few before, like Expedition Everest in Animal Kingdom of Walt Disney World in Florida, Orlando.
Yep, which, hey, I'll be going to later in the fall.
Well, maybe, will you be going to Animal Kingdom? Well, maybe. Well, who knows? Yeah, you might be going everywhere. Who knows, right? Animal Kingdom, the Expedition Everest,
probably going to...
that counts too is, I think, Boulder
yeah.
Dash. Boulder Dash counts in Lake Compounce.
I've never been there, but I've heard of it.
And
I've definitely heard of it.
Trying to think of another one that like a true actual roller coaster that I've been on, because I do attractions, I do rides. I'm not too big on the roller coasters, but I'm really trying to think. I cannot think of another that I've genuinely been on. Oh, here's one. Thunder Mountain Railroad in in Walt Disney World's Magic Kingdom, specifically Adventureland. That I've been on. There you go. There's 3 that I've been on. It was hard to even think of those 3 because I'm not too big on them.
Yeah.
How about you? Any 3 that stand out to you?
Okay, I can name one off the top of my head already. There's one at Six Flags New England. It's called the Superman now again. Once again, it used to be called Bizarro when I went on it. It was first called Superman Ride of Steel, but then they changed it to Bizarro because of an accident that happened, and now it's back to Superman.
That's a place I've never been. We're not Six Flaggers.
As of right now, I have not been in there in almost 8 years. So, I don't know how my body would handle it now compared to my 16-year-old self. But then there's one other ride there, the same park, which was actually the first, big roller coaster I've been on. It's called Batman The Dark Knight. It's a floorless coaster.
So your
feet are
on the top. You're dangling.
Yep. You're dangling. You still got the restraint over you. Then you're looping. Your picture gets taken of you making weird faces. Just like about every ride would do.
True.
Yep, it's like a big milestone at the time. Like 8 years ago wasn't my first time that I've been there. Been there at least, I would say, 4 times.
Yeah, but we're not talking about anything else other than roller coasters. Is that
Yes.
correct? Yes.
Okay, and then there's one more ride there, which is called the... I don't know if it's still called this, but it's called the Goliath.
Oh, so literally
it's-
everything superhero related. That's funny.
Now, it's one of those... It's like a boomerang coaster. So you start off... Well, this time the track is like above you instead of below. So you start going up, and then you're literally facing the ground, and literally your body's just on the restraint that holds you. Then you drop, you go through all these loops and turns, and then you start going up, and then you're literally facing the sky. And you go back the same way as you went before.
Yeah.
Roller coasters, as you know, they have their origins.
They have their origins. Where are they?
It actually goes as far back as the 18th century.
No. It can't be. 1700s?
Hey, as far as I know,
Oh. That's wild.
and they weren't like these metal fabrications either. They were like wooden coasters.
Yeah, just like Boulder Dash. Or Boulder Dash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Boulder Dash, that's a good example. Now, this does... Yep, they all used like sleds or carts that were wheeled, that were sent down hills and stuff. And it was all made of wood. It wasn't until, the 1800s where they started doing railroad tracks, which kind of lays the foundation of modern roller coasters. It wasn't until the 20th century where we started getting metal in these roller coasters.
Right. And I would imagine like some of the older metals were probably replaced because they were making people sick.
Well, I'm sure it's also just rusted and stuff too.
Yeah,
Let's not forget.
Not treated.
Yeah, but then over time, I'm sure they've used different metals so that way it lasts longer. And
They sprayed it down with asbestos and lead.
yeah, there you go.
Tough
One
as
way of
nails.
amusement. In the name of amusement.
Ugh.
No, that's like abusement right there.
Yeah.
I wouldn't. No. Okay, here's right now I'm looking at a coaster that was from 1927, but it was refurbished in 1975, and that one is known as the Coney Island Cyclone, which was in Brooklyn. It looks like your typical wooden coaster. It looks nice. Doesn't have the loops as well. I'm sure wood isn't as strong as metal. There is actually a bit of an innovation at Six Flags New England. There's like a hybrid. Well, I know I said there's no metal, like that's not 100% wood, but this one really took it to a level. It's a hybrid coaster, so it's metal and wood, and it does have some twists and loops and stuff. And that one's called the Wicked Cyclone, because the original one was it was old. Okay, I'm gonna name some notable roller coasters.
Go ahead.
The first one I'm thinking about is as old as me, and that one's called the Millennium Force.
Millennium Force.
You had to have heard of this before.
Nope, I've only heard of Millennium Falcon.
Well, this is the Millennium Force, and this one's actually the first roller coaster to exceed 300 feet.
Where's this one located?
It's at Cedar Point in Sandusky, Ohio.
Nope. Never heard of it.
Look it up, okay? No, so it's 310 feet tall, and instead of a chain, it's like a magnet that brings the roller coaster up. It'd be one thing if, I was on the roller coaster and I told you how the experience was, but, man, I've seen videos. You may not like it.
No, I don't even like smaller roller coasters to begin with.
Not even,
I'm
not even
doing,
that,
I don't do 310.
not even that little dragon ones at those carnivals.
I haven't been to carnivals in a long time, so I don't know. I don't know what you're talking about.
So this,
We are great podcasters. We know what we're talking about.
but hey, we're better than we were with that Kingdom episode. So
That's
there's
true.
credit.
That's true.
Now, yeah, this took, I was like 4 years to build this coaster because, well, I can't imagine being the.
Wait, but carnivals are supposed to be
No.
only around for like a month, so how does that make sense?
No, okay, I was going back to the Millennium Force.
You didn't even transition. You got cue that up. Gotta say back to the other one.
Yeah.
Oh, I was lost. I thought you were talking
Okay.
about the dragon one and the carnival, because you didn't say otherwise.
There,
Oh.
yes, that dragon one. That is a little mini coaster. It just think of it as the mitten from Glove World. Just think of it like that.
You're straight up talking about like a cheesy like tiny baby one. Like literally, you would let your
Well, maybe let's just say it's at its big boy pants stage. It's a little hot. It's not as soft as the mitten, but it's definitely not something that does loops either. It's like a loop. Just isn't a circular motion. Now we're going back to the Millennium Force.
I'll pretend like I know what you mean. Yeah.
It took a few years to build, specifically from 1996 to 2000.
96 to 2004. Okay.
Yeah, 2004 right now.
No, I said 4 years. 4 years.
Yeah. That's fine.
Is
Well,
four. Yeah.
Well, it'd suck if it took them that long to make a coaster, but no, but the announcement was from like a year before that, this will be the world's tallest roller coaster in the world.
Yeah, probably
But I'm sure
at like a roller coaster con or something, some weirdo nonsense like that.
But this was, oh wow, that coaster is 25 years old this year. It's a quarter of a century. There's not much that has changed since then other than maybe new control systems. Let's see if there's any other ones here. So this one's I found something from 1979 and it's called The Beast. It's a wooden roller coaster. So now we're going back to those old ones. At the time, it was the tallest, fastest, and longest wooden roller coaster in the world at the time. And even now, it's still the longest one. It is specifically 7,361 feet. As of now, it is still doing pretty well. It is a 56-year-old ride.
How about you do the rapid fire of the next few?
Yeah, why not? Because this one I don't know as much as the Millennium Force, because I've seen those before. This one, 2002, called the Accelerator. It's in Knott's Berry Farm in Buena Park, California.
I have heard of Knott's Berry Farm. They also
Opened in
for October. The thing that they do in October is they turn it into, for some reason, Knott's Scary Farm, where they have like actors that are like dressed in like, scary creatures and like killer clowns and stuff, and they'll like go up to park goers and they'll, scare the bejeebus out of you. Yeah, they have that.
And unlike, most coasters that use a, lift hill with the chain, this one just shoots you out. Well, not like it's not like the slingshot. It's like a hydraulically launched roller coaster. Yeah. Okay, I'm gonna speedrun to something else that I know personally that I've never been on, but it's in a different Six Flags location, and that one's called the King Da Ka.
King Da Ka.
This is a roller coaster. It's another hydraulically launched steel coaster, but this one's at Six Flags Great Adventure in Jackson, New Jersey.
New Jersey, okay.
Oh, and I actually just learned this as of me reading this. It closed November of last year.
So it doesn't exist. Move on, move on. Who cares about that one? That one's dead.
Hey,
Wrong
there's history.
Hey, 6 Flags, 6 feet under. Boo, get out of here. Leave. Next one. Next one.
Okay,
Next one.
come on. Doesn't hurt to talk about it, though.
No, it's dead. Hey, it's been cremated, it's been burned,
It's been...
It's gone.
It's now... The steel is now liquid. There you go.
Dismantled.
Oh, come on.
It's dead.
King to kaboom.
King to came and went.
Okay, now... Okay, Alright. I'm just gonna speed run to just another random coaster.
Just tell me the name, where they are, and like one fact about it.
Intimidator 305, which is it's another coaster, which is it's in King's Dominion in Doswell, Virginia. It opened in 2010.
Great.
It's another steel coaster. Yeah, woohoo. Leviathan opened at Leviathan, whatever.
Whatever. You're the one who thinks these are important. So you gotta name them.
Steel roller coaster located at Canada's Wonderland in Vaughan, Ontario, Canada.
Canada, eh?
Yeah. Okay.
Give me 2
All
more.
right.
Just 2 more.
Okay, this first single rail coaster. Shoot. Wonder Woman Golden Lasso coaster at Six Flags Fiesta, Texas. Okay. First extreme spinning coaster is called the Time Traveler at Silver Dollar City. But where is that? It is in... Yep, Silver Dollar City. That's in Branson, Missouri.
Missouri. Okay.
Opened in 2018.
Okay, that's a pretty recent one. Don't tell me how that was almost 10 years ago. Don't say it. Don't say it.
High school. Okay. Okay. This year, I don't know if this is open yet, but it's got the first Ultra Surf roller coaster. It's called the Georgia Gold Rusher at Six Flags over Georgia, and it actually opened yesterday as of this recording.
That is the most recent coaster. March 15th. Is that the most recent one?
This is literally the most recent one. It's in Six Flags.
Are you able to get like another source out there? Is there something that opened up like an hour ago?
Let's see what this one is. The Falcon's
even
Flight.
If it's in like Hong Kong or something.
Actually, okay. So this one's. Oh shoot! This one's in Saudi Arabia.
Saudi Arabia, is that literally their most recent one?
It's at Six Flags. I don't know how to pronounce this. Forgive me. Falcon's Flight set to open at Six Flags. In like Saudi Arabia, whatever.
Which is where in Saudi Arabia?
Qiddiya. I don't know how they pronounce it. Let me see if I can find a specific date. Falcon's Flight is a steel coaster. Its opening date is just this year. We don't know when. It's a steel launched roller coaster. Six Flags Qiddiya. It's part of the Qiddiya mega project in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. And it will become the world's tallest, fastest, and longest roller coaster. Well, that is until the next one comes, right? And goes like the.
This just in.
Rest in peace, King Dakar.
This just in. Here's some news regarding roller coasters, actually. Because I just decided to look up roller coasters on the news tab. And 4 hours ago, this article was posted. It's called "The Disney Indefinitely Shuts Down Controversial Coaster Following a Lawsuit." Essentially, Disney has a lot of collaborations and different people who, do things for the parks and for movies and shows and stuff like that, right? But we're obviously talking about the coasters and the parks that have them, right? So, in the Hollywood studios, it used to be called the MGM studios, but in Walt Disney World, Orlando, there was an attraction called Rockin' Roller Coaster. Rather, I should say it by its full name. Aerosmith's Rockin' Roller Coaster. So it was basically in the shape of a guitar, and like, you know, it played like an Aerosmith song, and like you were able to ride through various like, different weird things. I never went on it, and I guess I'll never be able to go on it ever, right? But essentially, it seems like it was obviously a very popular thing. It had fun objects and Aerosmith music that blasts you away. It was so popular to the point where you kind of had to have like Fast Pass in order to actually get it. Fast Pass was a system that Disney had where you could pretty much get into a fast line. Like, if you didn't have it, you'd be waiting in the normal line. And the Fast Pass line would be like, you know, you kind of reserved your time. You're like, oh, I'm gonna be here from, you know, 7 or 7:30 or whatever. And then if your Fast Pass expires, then too bad, you have to go into the regular line. But regardless, it is with no notice, temporarily unavailable, leading this reporter to believe that the issue was technical and unplanned. However, for an attraction to go down for 5 days likely meant that the problem wasn't just a simple fix, so the shutdown was not planned, and the coaster will be running once again after maintenance issues were cleared. It underwent all of this refurbishment, and it wasn't the first time that this type of thing happened with that roller coaster. Let's see. Some people believe that the controversy of Steven Tyler's lawsuit was causing it to get rethemed to something else. Tyler was allegedly performing various acts of, let's just call it happy fun times with somebody without consent. Eesh. Okay, that's interesting. I'm kind of skimming now. I'm skimming this article at this point because it gets into the controversy in detail, and I am not able to read that because this is roller coasters. We're not talking about legal. Essentially, it's being shut down. I'll wrap up now because honestly, it's kind of a slog to read through this whole thing.
Now, before we get into the second...
Okay, I guess I'm done. I didn't know that I was done when I was. But why do you like doing that? I wasn't done!
Okay, just continue.
I was getting there! This article is genuinely kind of like a slog, so I'm just gonna kind of give the Cliff Notes version. Scandal made it so Aerosmith wasn't going to be represented on the coaster, and it kind of led to an evolution. So for a little bit it used to be like Jonas Brothers related, and then I think after the Aerosmith stuff died down, it went back to that, and then kind of speculation with all of that, but supposedly it is going to be shut down and probably rebranded into some other thing.
Well, it makes me think there's like copyright issues too.
I don't think so, because it could have just been the contract is over too, but like Steven Tyler, the lead singer of Aerosmith, had like a lawsuit, and they don't like controversial figures in their park or in their, property. So that's probably the reason why that will not happen. Like, actually, I'm telling you this, but not the listeners. So, Bill Cosby, he's done stuff with Disney, right, before. And he was like on Main Street. They used to have like figures of celebrity heads. So like he was one of them, Oprah Winfrey was one of them. But like they had like bronze statues of people's heads, right? Like famous people's heads that were like influential in some way. They took Bill Cosby's off after that whole fiasco. And, you know, so they like to remove and cut ties as soon as possible if something bad happens. That's just a fun fact for you. Same sort of thing with like some people edit people out of a thumbnail if they were canceled or something, you know, like same sort of sitch.
Wow, that's interesting. Interesting little tidbit there.
So I guess the takeaway is sometimes roller coasters themselves are not indestructible. They could be shut down and sometimes just stop serving the community because of terrible controversy.
Yeah, that's interesting. Anything else we want to add before we move on?
To this topic or next thing?
Your topic before I move to the next topic.
So you want me to do the transition now, huh?
I mean, there was something I did want to add a little bit before we do go to the next thing, so...
Hey, go ahead.
So as you know, back to one of the roller coasters I talked about, one of the ones I went on was called Superman the Ride, which was formerly known as Bizarro, formerly known as Superman Ride of Steel. There have been, I guess, some incidents that eventually did lead to why it was called Bizarro. So the first incident happened in 2001. Now,
September?
This is when... Yep. No, August. No. No. Nope. August of 2001.
That's a fourth location.
That's a different location. No. This one is on August 6th, to be specific. One of the trains failed to stop at the ride's brake run, colliding with other trains at the loading station. And this did lead to people getting injured. But then, like 12 days later, they reopened.
Any fatalities from that one?
No. Just people that were sent to hospitals.
Okay.
22. Yeah, no.
So
nothing
great,
too major.
Not great, but
it could be worse. Now let's fast forward 3 years later, 2004, when a 55-year-old man was thrown from the coaster during the last turn and this one led to a fatality. And that was mainly the fault of the people, failing to look at every single seat. So that was the fault of them. But then since then, though, they've upgraded the restraint system too. So to make sure, nobody got hurt.
Oh, that's wild. That actually kind of reminds me. There are coasters out there who definitely have, terrible staff members who are not attentive and they're just doing this, they're just doing it for the money. They don't really care about the safety, right? So there's that. But there's also sometimes cases where people are actually great employees looking out, but the rider themselves is a bad egg. And sometimes people play with the handlebar, and sometimes they find a way to undo it, which leads to a bad thing, usually. And then sometimes the media blames the employees in the parks, even though they did everything right, and it was actually the person, who perished whose fault it really was. Sometimes that happens.
That can happen.
I only brought this up because that story kind of reminded me, whenever you said the employees were at fault, that reminded me of it. I'm not trying to say, that the 55-year-old was to blame, because I don't know. And I would only be 3 at that time, so I wouldn't even know that story. you know?
Mm.
Uh,
So actually there is more to this story here. This is that the victim's family claimed that, because of he does have a medical condition such as cerebral palsy, that because of that he should not have been allowed to ride. But then that the park, the way they responded was because, well, the Federal Americans with Disabilities Act forbids them from denying rides, so they just let the guy go on the ride. And of course, this is just based on the information I'm reading.
but hold on though. Like, I'm kind of caught up on something with that though. Cerebral palsy is something entirely different. You said he fell out.
Yeah, he did.
That has
He
nothing to
did.
do with cerebral palsy.
But
Cerebral
I don't know.
palsy is just having him shake around.
Well then, yeah. Well, the family's claiming that, but then they're like, well, doesn't matter what the disability is, we're not going to deny the ride.
Yeah, I'm no lawyer. I'm no judge. I'm not even in a law school or whatever. But to me, I feel like the lawyer that was defending the family is probably grasping at straws.
Man,
Like,
yeah.
I feel like it's one of those things, because obviously, like, you want to get justice for your lost family member, right? But it is one of those things where it's like, if he fell out, that's nothing to do with the disability.
That does not.
It's everything to do with the handlebar, the actual ride itself. Everything to do with that. And maybe the employees for not looking. Maybe. But, like, that's what I'm caught up on. Like, he fell out. It wasn't because of the disability.
Yeah, that was what I kind of wanted to share a bit of. Now, yeah, I don't know. It's crazy though. It's interesting, these stories.
Yeah.
But I did want to share that with you guys.
Yeah. And obviously,
Now,
like, this is filled with, like, speculation, and
mhm.
none of us know, truly what happens right behind the scenes. We were not 3 and 5-year-olds on a jury,
Mhm.
But
Okay,
yeah.
now I do want to get to the second part.
Now you want to do the second part? I could do that easy.
So yeah.
So for the viewers at home, the two of us actually like writing things, right? We write different scripts, we write different podcast plans even, right? Like, this one had a few bullet points on it, but mostly it was improvised, sure. But something you might not have known is the two of us have been kind of writing stuff for, like, ever since, like, 2016 at the earliest, right?
Mm-hmm.
One of the things that the two of us wrote, which kind of inspired this segment, was, I think I or you, one of us was like, we wanted to just see what the two of us would come up with roller coasters, right? Like, think of it as a prompt. So, the prompt was, hey, create a roller coaster and we'll see what we come up with, right? And so, the next thing that's gonna happen is we're gonna be reading unedited things, by the way. Things that were written in 2017.
Yep. So this was a while ago.
We're gonna read them verbatim. We're not gonna change up the sentences. We're gonna read them like we wrote them. Word for word.
Yep, this was our imaginations
So,
as teenagers.
As the host, do you want to go first, or do you want to let me go first?
I'm gonna go first with this one.
You'll get it out of the way. Okay.
And my roller coaster was called the Heart Attack.
Let's hear it.
The waiting line is 300 feet long. If the line is full, you have to wait for 70 minutes to get on. The line is located in the front of the ride. The line looks like a typical
No.
roller coaster line.
It
You
is?
keep walking left and right. Now onto the ride.
Oh no.
Each row has 2 seats next to each other. There are a dozen rows of seats.
Okay, so
When you go on the ride,
it's 2 by 12, so 24 people, I guess.
right? Yeah. It starts out like a normal roller coaster. You're going up the hill, but right when you're all the way up, it stops, and then the speakers on the seats start playing heavy metal music. And then the ride starts zooming down a hill. You go through the tunnel. And then animatronics, not Five Nights at Freddy's or Chuck E. Cheese's, start popping up in your face.
Oh jeez.
And then as you can see, you get scared beyond hell, but you don't actually get a heart attack unless you have a heart problem. After the tunnel, you go through a sharp turn and then loop, and then another sharp turn, and then the ride is over. After the ride is over, the staff will measure your BPM and then print the results out for you to keep. That was it.
I would imagine that your roller coaster would actually kill a bunch of people.
I'd hope not. Well, if I were to create this now, I would have had him, hey, sign a waiver. Let's say so you can't sue us if something happens.
It's like I wonder where the concrete waivers are, you know. Like there are probably like workarounds for waivers, maybe. But no. Would there be anything that you do differently with that one, other than the waiver? Like design-wise?
Signing-wise, well, I still think this is a cool idea. Maybe, I'm sure nowadays, they would probably email you your results. I'm sure now they'd email you your results, but I would have maybe picked some kind of... I still would have done, like, maybe animatronics.
Ooh, actually, what are you
Or
thought?
maybe Buggy the Clown, who knows?
Oh, Buggy the Clown. That's not really... What?
It's not that much of a change, but...
I mean, Buggy the Clown ain't really that scary, though. Is the thing. He's a goofy pirate. But no, something that I think that use would maybe benefit from in the modern day would be like, in front of you is like a screen, right? In front of the handrail, right? The guardrail or whatever. It's a screen, and it will show up with a QR code of your results. So you just scan it and walk away, right? Like, you don't even have to leave the cart in order to do that. Might be interesting.
Or just like a little video right before you start. Now, we hope you enjoy your ride. Please keep your arms and legs at vehicle at all times. We're gonna let you out of this hospital. It's like I could just have you like when you're going on the ride, the whole theme looks like a hospital. I would have described the details.
So the car is like a bunch of gurneys or something. That's like
Just like a gurney-shaped ride.
like 2 by 20 or 2 by 12, like just 24 gurneys tied together. And that's what. Oh, that's wild.
I mean, it's gonna be the size of a normal seat, but it's gonna kind of look like a gurney. But then, like the theming of like the little area to get in, on and off the ride's gonna look like a hospital.
The employees.
And all the employees are gonna dress like doctors.
Yeah.
Scrubs.
Scrubs and nurse scrubs. Yeah.
And they're all wearing like they're all like pretend like little stethoscopes.
Oh jeez, and then if anybody has to ask if they're a doctor, they have to say yes, but like maybe it's an emergency and they actually need a real doctor, so it's like, hey, is anyone here a doctor? It's an emergency. All the employees go, yes, I am. No, a real one.
But I'm sure then they have like ambulances. There's an ambulance center like right near the specific side of the park, so in case something does happen, they will bring They'll still make sure you don't die.
Your roller coaster track is actually unfinished, and it just blasts the gurneys off into an unavailable room. Just an unused hospital room. That's where the coaster ends. Oh, that's lovely.
Roller coaster technology right there.
Speaking of technology, mine actually does get into technology. So to kind of give a little bit
Am I opening up your dock?
No, I didn't open
Okay.
up yours.
Okay, so no, I'm just gonna listen.
Yeah, I listen to you.
Okay, let's listen to you.
A little bit of backstory though. This was kind of inspired by something that Disney did a little bit of. So I just kind of took the concept from Star Tours and kind of turned it into my own thing. So, and remember, I have to read this how I wrote it. So let's get into it.
All right.
Yo, check it. The ride is a fully indoors ride that incorporates virtual reality aspects into it. It takes the idea of celebrating some classic cartoons from all networks, as well as the best of today's cartoons. Today's cartoons being from 2017 or whatever, right?
Right.
So, if we're gonna update it, probably update with more cartoons, you know?
Like have Bluey part of it?
Sure! Yay! Okay, the exterior and line or queue is where most expenses are going to. The line/queue is the most eye-catching as it is decorated with many of the cartoon's famous props. Costumes, and original sketches of those characters. Maybe some animation cells, if applicable. It also includes some moody-ish lighting inside and has some maroon-red wall color. As for the building's exterior, it is adorned, good word for 2017, it is adorned with a 3D sculpted mural, of sorts, of those cartoon characters, one character for each cartoon show. All of this is on top of a plain black building. The inside of the actual ride is just a dark blue room that can seat 30 people at a time. It takes the idea of raising the rider up slightly and adding a series of special effects like breezes, water mists, and a quick temperature change where needed. This goes on for several more paragraphs, by the way. I'm not even a third of the way done.
So you got a lot. So
Yeah.
It's already kind of imitating. So far, your roller coasters.
It's like Star Tours. It's like Soarin', but it also has cartoon characters and stuff.
My only comment is, it kind of does incorporate like the similar technologies like some roller coasters have.
Oh yeah, like figment of imagination. That's also one. That's also one that does some of the. It's not a roller coaster, obviously, but like it has like smells and stuff like that. Interesting things. Attraction, I would call it. Ride, sure.
Yeah.
Warning: ride may cause dizziness, heart problems, and slight stomach pain. Enough with the atmosphere. Now, going into ride details. The ride starts out with the rider placing on their VR headset and buckling up, as it rises them mildly. The video starts with a classic reel-to-reel countdown from 3, 2, 1. The first sensational cartoon featured is a dynamic duo pairing of Bimbo the dog and modern cartoon SpongeBob. Bimbo starts his dialogue. Maybe it's Bimbo. I just have Bimbo. I'm just gonna say Bimbo from here on because Bimbo is a bad word. Bimbo starts his dialogue by introducing what will be happening. Bimbo starts saying, "Welcome one and all, we would like to take you money holders, customers, on a quest through some iconic cartoons." Then SpongeBob adds, "Yeah, a magical journey through some of your most favorite television moments ever. You could see some classics, you could see some classic old cartoons like Bimbo Begins Again, and modern day cartoons like SpongeBob. Next, they both say, "See you around." Is the camera still rolling? The starting segment is a minute-long Bimbo segment. He takes riders around on a quest to be mischievous and cause mayhem. The next scene takes the rider to 1940s with a phenomenal cartoon movie that's known as Pinocchio. In particular, on a boat with Geppetto and Jiminy Cricket. The rider is referred to as "my creation" in order to communicate to the rider. Geppetto and Jiminy Cricket both remind you that Pinocchio has been eaten by Monstro, the whale, and that you must save him. Geppetto then explains, "I've created a puppet pulley system that will rise you up in order to get into Monstro's blowhole." He hooks the rider up and launches, but the blowhole spews out water that launches the rider into the air. Then Monstro eats the rider. All isn't bad though, because Pinocchio finds the rider. Pinocchio then sees the rider has black pepper, and they dust the whale with it. That dusting causes the whale to sneeze, and in the process will launch him and the rider out of the blowhole and onto the ship.
I'm already got a lot to say.
Oh, that's just the first segment.
So
I'm gonna count them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then 6 is the conclusion. So, yeah, that's just one of 6.
Are these the voices for these characters going to be AI, or they were doing them? Theoretically, if we were to do this,
let's just say back in the day, I had no clue that AI voices were going to be a thing. This was
Neither did I.
2017. So I thought that somebody who either sounds like them or are them would be the one.
And how much Tom Kenny would charge us if we had him provide any voices?
You don't know that. Maybe he would do it. Maybe it would be fine.
Anywho, back to your story.
Was that? Let's see. That was the intro. That was the Pinocchio. Okay. The next cartoon represented is the Jetsons. George and the rider board his flying car, and then the adventure begins. There really isn't a story behind this section, however, it has a great thrill attached to it. George drives the rider around, and due to some reckless drivers, you start swerving, dipping, and rising. The next event to happen is George dropping you off in midair, and you start falling. During that fall, the next cartoon saves you, and is riding on his flying Pegasus. Guess what the next one is?
The next cartoon?
Yeah. He saves you on his flying Pegasus.
Jeez. Oh.
Good old pop
You.
quiz.
Okay. Let's see here. Saves you on his flying Pegasus. What is this? Little Einsteins?
No. Hercules then says, "Rough fall you had there," and then continues with, "I don't believe we have seen each other before. Where are you from?" "Ah, never mind that." Hercules lands the Pegasus and takes you to the ground. Hercules then declares, "Meg has just been kidnapped by Hades. We need to save her." Hercules takes the rider to the entrance of the underworld, and from there, it's a creepy, slow ride until the riders see 3 witch sisters cut a string and fall down a slope. The next cartoon represented then appears. The next cartoon is none other than... Have any guesses?
What was the cartoon at the time?
So think about this canonically, because this is kind of taking you through, like, timeline, right? So, the last one was Hercules.
Is it the Hunchback of Notre Dame, dude?
Well, remember, this isn't just Disney stuff, because the Jetsons was there. The next cartoon is none other than SpongeBob himself.
Ah, the old fry cook.
That's kind of why I wanted you to guess that one, but okay. This section of the ride starts with David Hasselhoff already launching riders to Bikini Bottom. Hoff says, "Goodbye, hope you find your way." As he says that, his voice gets softer gradually. Oh, so let me restart. He says, "Goodbye, hope you find your way." As he says that, his voice gets softer gradually, and the rider gets wet with water only enough to experience it, not to drench them. Finally, the rider lands on the sand, where the two main characters run jellyfish. SpongeBob is late for work, and the rider follows him, but he gets shocked by a jellyfish. The heat turns up slightly while doing so. Patrick remains and runs around while explaining, "SpongeBob, it is your destiny to make it to work on time. Go!" Patrick then continues, asking with, "SpongeBob, where'd you go?" SpongeBob makes it to work just in time. Plankton just grasps the formula in his hands. Mr. Krabs is chasing him, and Squidward just sits there. Now SpongeBob drives in Plankton's direction and misses him. Oh, dives in Plankton's direction and misses him. He does, however, land on the rope that unties, and gravity takes the heavy anchor to squish Plankton. The formula slips out of his hands and into the rider's hands. Mr. Krabs says, I'll be taking that." SpongeBob makes a joke, and the next and final section rolls along. Please ask me something. My voice is tired at this point, but I'm not done yet.
Is this gonna be somewhere above the surface? The next segment?
Oh, the next segment. I mean, yeah, it should be.
Any last words?
Just it doesn't even have to be about my coaster. Like, you could just talk about anything, because my voice needs a little bit of a rest too.
Huh. Does your coaster... Oh, sure there's not... Is there any drinking water besides the salt water to moisturize your larynx to keep talking? Yeah.
I don't have anything right now, no.
Now, does this get... Now, to all the audience members listening, does this get you interested in going to an amusement park?
Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't.
Who knows?
You know what, I guess I could carry on. This final section starts out with Bill Cipher from Gravity Falls saying, "Fools, you really thought I was going to be stopped that easily? Well, think again." Bill then appears into vision and reminds the rider, "Have you really forgotten that you are on a big virtual reality ride?" Oh, and by the way, that's one of the things that Bill Cipher is known for. He talks to the audience sometimes, right? Kind of breaks the fourth wall a little bit, because he is kind of like a chaos demon sort of entity thing, right? Yeah, okay. After that, he takes the rider and spikes them down, and then they land in Lake Scuttlebutt with a humongous cold splash. Lake Scuttlebutt is a lake. Dipper and Mabel save the rider in the Scuttlebutt monster. Old Man McGucket fiddles around with some technology, and then the rider feels tremors. They start small and progressively increase. At that point, Gideon Pot shows up. From there, each rider has a hard choice to make. They can choose their epic ending of 6 options. 1 is a samurai sword, 2 is a technological blaster, 3 is a grappling hook, 4 is a wad of gum, 5 is a beloved pig named Waddles, and 6 is a spell book. Once every rider decides to choose their path, it plays the different ending. As in, like democracy, like if more people choose wad of gum, they'll play that one, right? Because it shows the same thing for every rider. It's a big screen. Wait a minute. No, it's VR headset. No, so everyone does have their own unique thing. I thought I was clarifying myself. But nope. I was going against what I said back then. Okay, let's continue on, carry on. The item of choice then gets smacked out of the rider's hands, and they run after it. Once back in their clutches, they use the weapon, and in the way that they decided. Okay, the ride halts when Bimbo and SpongeBob come back into view. Bimbo speaks, saying, "I hope you all had fun riding our ride." SpongeBob then speaks, saying, "We'd also love for you to support us by buying our merchandise." Bimbo continues, "See you all later, bye."
See you all later, bye. Just a very abrupt ending right there.
Well, when I was 16 or whatever.
Yeah, bye. Okay.
I mean,
No.
definitely like a modern.
That is.
Like a modern day change out. Definitely include, different characters, not just those guys, right? But yeah.
I mean, okay. I'm just thinking of like those Disney. I mean, I've never been to Disney, but I've seen these before. Like those Disney rides where they just have all the animatronic characters talking to you. Like, oh, can you help me?
Oh no, not that. Look up Soren. Actually, I'll type it in the chat right here, so then you know how to spell it. There you go. That. Look up Soren. Images could help you out a little bit.
Soren. Oh, hold on.
Yeah, it's in Epcot. So if you wanted to do more to clarify, maybe.
Oh, is it that owl?
Huh?
Character. I don't know. I looked up Soren and all I get is like an owl.
Not an owl. Soren Epcot.
Epcot. Oh, okay. Oh, Soren. Okay, I see it.
It's a ride, not an owl. What
It's
the
a
heck?
flight motion simulator attraction, huh?
So essentially, a bunch of people are like, sitting in a, sort of a seat, right? And the ride kind of brings people up, and there's a big screen in front of them. It's like a round screen, so you can't really see where it ends. They kind of meticulously designed it that way. They also kind of like warn you if you are getting dizzy, like look down, right? Like looking down would just show like scaffolding and whatever, right? Not the screen in front, but it takes you through like different journeys. Like there's like a California orange grove and like a Chinese festival with a bunch of fireworks happening. But it's like it simulates flight, right? It makes it feel like you yourself are flying. It's a simulator sort of thing. And then if you've ever heard of Star Tours, that's another thing that's like it in Disney as well. It's basically it's a room with a screen, and like it shakes you around if something on screen happens, and like interesting shenanigans like that. And then Figment, A Journey into Imagination or something like that, is also somewhat like that.
I don't know I'm not going to. I mean, I won't be going to Epcot, probably. But it still sounds interesting.
Epcot is the one, like, that one is like one of them that I genuinely do enjoy going to. But that's because it has like, a bunch of things from around the world, right? Like, I like seeing the merchandise and like these sites, even though it's not really Morocco, and it's not really, Japan. It's not really Mexico, but like, some of those sites are neat there. And Epcot's not really a place that has like hardcore coasters, not as much anyway. And that's kind of why I like it. I think
I don't know.
Both of our 2017 coasters, they're nice. I would say they could be done better today,
There could be
So maybe
now.
maybe we update them, but
Yeah, but the
maybe
real
we
question is, do you think physically would you see these becoming a thing?
don't. Well, if we're
Like,
if we're going
I
to
mean,
be
we're just using our.
if we're gonna be realistic, no, because they come from the two of us, and like, unless if we were like massive people, like, unless if like somewhere had like a design your coaster idea and we'll make it for you. Unless if there's a way to do that, then I don't think these are gonna happen at all, ever. But
No, but like, I mean, this is just
they're
from
both realistic. They could be real, you know?
the like I said, like coming from a realistic perspective. Like with mine, I'd have to have people sign a waiver in case something serious does happen.
Yours is, I would say, more attainable than mine would be, though. Well, but then again, actually, no. Because the technology for Soarin', it's pretty much that, where it's like, you know, you're dipping and diving based off of what you see on the VR headset. So, it's kind of a toss-up. Like, some of the cons of mine are pros of yours, and some of the pros of mine are cons of yours, you know? It's kind of interesting. But I think they're both doable. I mean, like, if Disney was to do something with the two of us, they could theoretically do it.
Theoretically, like, I think they have the technology to
Like,
be implemented.
It is technologically possible. But, is it probable? That's the question.
Do you think they're gonna even keep the thing there for, like, do you think the coaster would be open for that long? For, like, yours?
I mean, the thing is, like, I wouldn't be allowed to do it on Disney, right? Because I don't think they want SpongeBob on their park, you know? Unless if there's, like, some licensing or something like that. Maybe it could be possible.
I get. Let's see.
Like,
the one at Epcot, yeah, lasted, like, 11 years, at least the Soarin' over California.
Yeah, California Soarin' is not there, but I believe the Orlando version and the
Soarin' around the world.
And then the original Soarin' that I think was, like, in Norway?
There's one in Disney California Adventures, Epcot, in Shanghai, Tokyo.
No, I'm not talking about, like, the Disney one. Like, the actual, like, genesis of Soarin', I think, is, like, Norwegian. I want to say Norway, but it definitely could be another place. And it really, truly doesn't matter. We don't need to go into that.
We don't need to go details, but
I just wanted you to understand, like, the idea of my coaster. That's why I said Soarin', because that's, like, the closest equivalent, you know?
But I mean, I don't know. Realistically, mine could last. So there's enough. There's probably lawyers. I would have lawyers and, you know, paramedics just standing by.
Real ones, not your employees.
Well, I would have. Well, the employees will still be there, like, to buckle you in. But well, then, in case
if they look like paramedics, then people are gonna get confused.
I guess, yeah. We had an interesting imagination.
And we still do.
Yeah.
It's just different things.
Yeah, definitely.
Would this be said? I mean, I would maybe test yours out once, just on the basis of you did it, right? Like, but if some random person who I didn't even know designed this, I might not go on it, right? You know? I think you would have fun on mine, though.
It sounds like an adventure, and maybe you could enjoy mine, but then again, you don't even want to go on, like, probably smaller roller coaster.
Yeah, I'm just not too big a fan of that type of threat.
Mm. To you listening, would you guys go on any of these rides if they were real?
To you listening, did mine make sense? Because it was kind of waffly.
Does mine sound like something that you would risk your life for? Hey, if you do have any major health problems, maybe it's best to avoid my ride. But can't hurt to try it if you're just somebody that just likes roller coasters.
Welp.
Now, given how good roller coasters are now, how do you think they're going to get better?
Oh, you're giving me the future. The future.
I mean, we've seen some roller coasters do like VR headsets, but those did not catch on.
Sure, and I can understand why, because it's pretty much a biohazard, right? Like, after a certain point, putting the same, germs happen. So, like, I would have to edit mine to be a different thing or whatever, but, like, because, hey, we wrote these before COVID was a thing.
We did.
So, I mean, I would think of it way differently now, because I don't want people to use the same VR headset, but no, the future. Realistically, the only one that I could kind of think of is one of those gray areas. Like, some people would be, like, super against it, and some people would be really with it. And that would be artificial intelligent, like, designed ones, right? And that's, like, encompasses, like, maybe everybody has a different roller coaster just based off of the survey that they took. So, like, literally their track is different. If they love going upside down, it will be a lot of that. If they only can handle a corkscrew, then only that, right? Like, so maybe we just, like, generate a track somehow.
Yeah.
I mean, even just at the original basis, like, have just, like, somebody ask, like, hey, design me a roller coaster, and then somebody actually builds it, and, like, it's actually a tangible thing, then sure, maybe even that, but the main takeaway is, I kind of think the only thing would be to kind of introduce some artificial means to it. Unless we discover a new metal for it to be like, oh, this is actually very lightweight, but it's very sturdy. Or whatever, some sort of thing that the material would be made of. I don't know. How about you? What do you think the future?
I was thinking, I don't know, instead of like maybe like chains or something and magnets, maybe what if we had like water powered things?
Yeah,
like water
hydro, like some sort of thing with hydrodynamics. Sure.
Like water's like pulling you up. Like water jets.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not to be confused with those like roller coasters at Disney that you go to Splash Mountain, but just something that pulls you up that's not like you're not fabricating metal.
Oh yeah, I mean, Splash Mountain is not powered with water. It's not, like, it is still a track, but you get wet because it lands in water.
I'm thinking more. Yeah. I'm thinking more something powered with water. Yeah, but that's really the only big thing I can think of.
Yeah, I was just saying the difference, between.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, but now
some sort of water power, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe solar powered, just like it being in the sun rises it.
Then it would only be open until when it gets dark out. That's the only issue.
Or I mean, it charges up in the sun, but then maybe it goes down. Oh, and then whenever you have a overcast, it's just
then that may be a problem.
A foggy day where it's just inactive, and that'd probably be terrible, A roller coaster that's powered by people cycling their feet. So it's like, it's a bicycle, but it's also a roller coaster.
But no, it's like, hey, how do you think Mr. Krabs ran that jellyfish factory? He just rode his, like, exercise bike.
No, but yeah, like, literally, like, if, let's say 24 people are on their car, and, like, everybody has to pedal in order for, it could maybe do something, I don't know.
I know, but it's like, yeah, or I can't help but think the solar-powered, like, roller coasters that, well, if it's overcast and then if the battery's dead, then, yep, the ride is temporarily closed until it gets sunny.
Imagine it closing down and you're just at the top of it. You
Then
can't move.
There's been, yeah, well, that's why they got those stairs on there, but even then, it's like, you're going down the stairs looking down and you're like a couple 100 feet in the air. But I don't know. But anyways, do you say that, we've reached the end of the ride? Anything else?
I would maybe say that there's one more thing to talk about.
And what would that be?
Well,
I hear something, so that tells me that you have something queued up.
Well, welcome back, thrill seekers. You just conquered DomJake Studios. The roller coaster episode, defying gravity, twisting through the air, and maybe even questioning your life's choices for a second. But look at you now, still standing, mostly in one piece. We hope you had an unforgettable ride. When you're ready for more excitement, the park will be waiting with plenty of adventures. Now gather your belongings, exit to your left, and go brag to your friends about how fearless you are. Thanks for riding, and we'll see you in the next adrenaline rush.